Hi, I'm Kyle. Welcome to this episode of the Newfoundland Hobbyist. Today we've got a bit of a flashback video. We're taking a look at the building of my traditional timber framed workbench here. For a real craftsman, someone who's doing a lot of work in the shop, a workbench is extremely important to being efficient at your work and really getting the most use out of your workspace. So being freestanding here, I can get right around the bench, and that's very important to not having to move your stuff around all the time. It also lets you access a lot more square footage of your bench. This bench is made no metal fasteners whatsoever, all timber frame joints. Got a traditional woodworking vise mounted there in the back, and it's just a fantastic piece. It's certainly tested my abilities as a craftsman. Like all the wooden joinery in this, completely done by hand, chisel, mortise and tenons. So it's definitely a lot of work. Took some time, but I think you'll really enjoy the process of seeing me build it. A bench shouldn't be an afterthought in your workshop, and I've been just enjoying this to the full ever since I made it a few months ago. So, without waiting any longer, let's have a look at how I built this bench. I've been selecting the best 2x4 for the bench top. Now I'll flash a plan on the screen there now. It's something I drew up by myself using just a piece of software I found online, a piece of free software. But this laminated 2x4 is going to be my bench top, so you can get an idea of the heft of the bench. So this is all 2x4, which dressed of course, so it's more like 1.5 inches by 3.5. I'm going to surface all these. My bench top is going to be 2 feet wide by 5 feet long. So here's the real juicy part here now. We have 5x5s here, 2 5x5s. These are 8 foot long, but these will be my posts, my 4 leg posts I'll get out of these. So you're going to have real hefty legs here, and then the spans between the legs are going to be cut out of these 4x4s here, also 8 foot lengths, but they'll be cut down to size. So we're just squaring up the material here now, getting the work surface ready. We haven't actually started applying any glue. We're just making sure everything's level, so when it is glued up, it's as perfect as it can be. Try to minimize planing, because if you've got a real high corner or something, it's going to be a lot of work, because we'll have to take it down to do that wooden joinery. Everything's got to be really good in place when you're doing wooden joinery like that. Probably take me a little bit. Let glue pour out. Woo! There. This was a great night in the workshop. Brian and I had been planning it for a few weeks. We were pretty excited about it. It's not often you get to work on a big timber framing project like this, especially a nice quality workbench that could potentially last decades. It's a pretty exciting task, and getting to play with all this fresh spruce wood, it was just a dream to be able to spend the time out here in the shop like this. So here is that beautiful spruce top, all on clamps. We got a lot of clamping on there, a lot of glue, a lot of wasted glue, but she is beautiful. So after a few days drawing in a warm basement, it was time to finally take those clamps off. We were so excited, you can probably sense from this footage here. I remember the feeling of just carrying a solid top. But what you're about to see, where Ray is planing, is something that broke my heart. And it was pretty devastating. Just watch what happens here.
Yeah, I wasn't pushing on that.
Oh, this was the part. I tell you, I was feeling pretty bad at this point. That beautiful spruce top we glued up, spent all that time working on, just separated. We weren't expecting it. And to feel that the glue was still moist, we really didn't figure out what the issue was, if it was maybe green wood or... But the more we pulled and prodded at it, we just pulled it apart piece by piece. And it was so disappointing. It was really devastating.
Okay, we might as well holler right around now.
Flashing forward 3 to 4 days, and we have a freshly glued bench top once again. I glued it all back up and set it out in the sun. It was out there for 3 to 4 days, and I'm really hoping when I take these clamps off this time that it's going to hold. It's a pretty tough feeling, I tell you.
Doesn't seem to be flexing this time. I am picking it up on just single corners. Ouch! Ah. Did we get her? I started off here with my number. This is a jack plane. This is a Stanley. It's roughly a 5, maybe a 5.5. Beautiful length plane. It's a bit bigger than your everyday number 4, but it's still small and athletic enough that it doesn't kill you to run it for a while. So now that I've got most of the glue scalped off this side, this is the top side, I'm bringing in my jointer plane. This is Stanley number 6, made in England. It's a beast of a plane, and it's made for planing large surfaces like this. So there's one side of it with a quality rough planing. I'm really excited. I finally got that bench top plane down, all its dimensions, as square as I could get them, and it's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot of work trying to get all those dimensions square. I'm just using hand tools, using my hand planes, squares, trying to get those dimensions as good as I can. Today I'm going to start cutting the leg posts, so that's what we're going to start with right now. These are my 4 leg posts. Ray, when he was out, helped me cut these to length, dimension them, plane them down so they're square. And right now they're about as good as they can be for these posts. It's a gorgeous one here. Look at these nice crisp edges, really hard edges there now. So, just so you can see where we are here, I'll darken this knife line a little bit with my pencil. And that's our cut line, and of course the tenon's coming out this side. Now, I don't have a fancy marking wheel gauge, but I do have my little combo square. So I've set it at exactly 2.5 inches. And for each tenon, that's going to be the width of the tenon. Not all my posts are exact dimension all the way across. They all come really close to each other, but they're not exact. So all I need to make sure is that my tenons are the exact same size. I want them to be as perfect as I can get them. So I'm going to run my combo square and knife along the tenon's edge here, along the clean edge, and that's where I'm marking my line, my cut line. So just to show you, here You can kind of see that line faintly here. And here. So we're all marked out. This is the piece that'll be removed. You can probably already tell this is a massive chisel. It's a beautiful Canadian Champion. I restored it a little while back. I believe it's exactly 2 inches. It was a lot of work to get this thing in square and get a nice edge on it like you see here now. But it's a beautiful chisel at this point. It's a nice low angle chisel. I'm just going to use it a little bit here just to go up against that little knife mark I made. So you can see it's kind of breaking there. And I'm just going to push out this edge just so when I'm cutting with the saw I don't tear out any fiber from that tenon. Okay, so I got my 16th there. Now you got to be really careful with this saw because it cuts like crazy. I'm not even using any pressure here now. And it's just... This is a little frame back saw. Some people might call it a joinery saw, but it's lovely for work like this. I could easily cut this with my 8-point crosscut because I'm going to chisel it out anyways. I got to stay away from my line just because I'm not confident enough. But I really want to use this saw, and it is great at getting a nice clean cut. So I'm going to get quite close. I'm probably definitely less than a 16th here now. So let's have a look here. So I'm about a 16th, not quite a 16th from my line here on the face cut. I'm a little bit farther off on this side. Like I said, I have a tendency to veer my saw because I'm scared of going into my line. Here's where a big chisel like this comes in handy. It's so wide. I can remove material easily because I can really get the weight of my body behind the chisel. But it's also really good at leveling because it's so wide it acts closer to a plane. Got a big reference surface on the back. So I'm just paying attention here to my lines. I'm going to work right down to them. Okay, so here are our beautiful leg posts. Tenons are all cut. Now, it's not going to do it justice here now because these edges aren't sewn here. And then you got, this is just a rough mill edge because our table will seat down on this shelf and come to probably here. So all this will be flush cut off and planed off. So I just got it left rough here now. Real gentle on the start here. I don't want to tear out or split out any of my table wood here. I know this is just, to a lot of you, it's just a workbench and it doesn't need to be that clean or perfect. But I take pride in what I do and I want to know when it's finished that I can truly say it's to the best of my ability. Now with these two holes here, what makes it so much easier is that instead of having to do constant end cuts, which are pretty tough, take several hits, as soon as I get into those holes there, the material breaks away. Sometimes you have to make a quick cut, but you can take out a lot of material at once. So I have my first knife wall here at exactly 15 5/8, and then I'll just use my combo square here to trace that around 4 sides. Starting to cut out the cross members, the cross braces for the legs, and those are going to be 4x4 cut down with a 2.5 inch tenon as well. So I've got my knife wall cut all the way around, and I just ripped in all dimensions here all the way down. So all that's left is to cross cut, and these pieces will be able to be removed. I don't have a long ways to cut. I'm just going to back my saw right up against the knife wall. It's only about a 1/2 inch or so. Okay, I might not be quite deep enough with my, there we are, with my rip saw, this middle piece. Especially for me. Yeah, I'm bringing off about a 1/2 inch out. So there it is, my first cross member completely done. This one is 2 tenons, and I'll go widthwise between the end legs. I had to make 2 of these and then 2 more long ones. Really happy with it. This is a beautiful piece. Nice crispy edges here. Again, those ends will be cut off after, so don't pay attention to those. We have beautiful, beautiful dimensions. Just nice, crispy and clean. The more I work at it, the better I get, which is the name of the game. Changing techniques, reading up on different techniques online to improve my saw cuts, to improve my chisel work, and it's working. Okay, this is the last mortise I'm cutting for the small cross members. I've had to cut 4 of those. And these are not going to be through tenons. I cut my tenons off short, and they're just going to be glued in there. These are going to be glued. So I've cut my knife wall all around. Use my brace and bit to drill to drill 4 holes because it's been much easier that way. And that's today's project, is at minimum to get these 4 mortises cut and get those tenons fitted in there. So if you couldn't before, you can probably see what I'm doing here now. We have 2 end sets of leg posts with the tenon, and then our tabletop will sit right on top of these tenons here and come right out flush with the outside edge of the posts. And then I have a tenon or a cross member to go lengthways that'll be through tenon, so all the way through these posts, and they'll go this way and probably up higher, probably up midway up the post to give it strength in multiple directions. Here it is, the moment of truth. 1, 3 here. Okay, that's the hard part done. Here's that beautiful top. Everything's nice and flattened. I planed it down nicely, as perfect as I could get it, and then I gave it a little bit of a sanding. Just a light sanding to take off some of the highs, because such a big area it's a bit difficult to see. Now I'm going to do a little bit of edge chamfering. So I'm going to set my little block plane here out nice and deep. And I'm just going to go and break those edges, just so I don't break those edges. So, going against the grain here now. So just that bit of chamfer you can see there. I'm going to do that on as many edges as I can. Those nice shavings. So there it is. You saw the full production of exactly how I made this timber frame workbench. I'm in love with this bench, and it seems like it keeps getting better over time. It's looking a little worse for the wear right now. It's dirty, it's beat up, it's dented up, but I just love it more and more the more I work on it. What's nice about having this big beautiful top like this is that I could just resurface it. I've got 3.5 inches of material here. I can completely resurface this table with one of my hand planes in just a few minutes, and it's looking brand new again. And those legs will probably never wear out. So I hope this project or this video has helped inspire you to get to work on your own hobbies. Hobbies are a great way to spend your time. Maybe you have some old hobbies that have been on the back burner if you haven't thought about for a while. Maybe you'd like to try something new. The important thing is you get out there, you work, and you build a skill set. Such a great confidence builder, and it's a great way to spend your time to learn something new and build a big skill set that you can apply to so many things. Thanks for watching, guys. Tune in the same time next week to the Newfoundland Hobbyist.